got a T-shirt with bloodstains all over it. Maybe laundry isn't your biggest problem right now.
I remember the day the candle shop burned down. Everybody just stood around and sang happy birthday.
And a security guard came over and said, "You're gonna have to move. You're blocking the fire exit." As though if there was a fire, I wasn't gonna run.
You make love to the right woman, Johnny, is beautiful, beautiful. I mean, the last time I made love to my wife, it was ridiculous. Nothing was happening. I looked at her, I said, "What's the matter? Can't you think of anyone either?"
I never learn, you know, like a waitress will bring my meal. "Hey, enjoy your meal, you too!" But you don't have one, do you? I'm a doofus. If you do eat, enjoy it when you eat it. If you have a break or something later, if you get an opportunity, that's all I'm trying to say. That's all that I'm driving at, really.
Hello, welcome to Comedy Think Tanked, a podcast with Leonard Kimball and Nick Gordon, two comedians who know how to take a drink and have a thought. Sit back, get comfortable, and enjoy. Now, whether they're ready or not, here's your hosts, Leonard and Nick.
Hello and welcome to Comedy Think Tanked podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts. I'm Leonard Kimball, along with Nick Gordon. Nick, how you doing?
Good. How are you? We're here.
Wait, that's all, folks.
That's that's my first impression. No, we. Now I can't stop doing it.
We're at Craft Brew Underground.
We're at Craft Brew Underground.
So we had a discussion before, not to peek behind the curtain, but
we actually have been drinking.
You're right, we have been drinking this time. We're actually Comedy Think Tanked this time. So because we're at the awesome Craft Brew Underground recording this, and so we both have a beer in front of us, or I have a beer, Nick has a cider.
It's a cider, but it's a heavy cider.
It's a heavy cider.
Yeah.
It weighs a lot.
It's actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
We talked to Brian Plumb. He's our interview for today.
Yes.
And the Massachusetts, I don't want to say Boston comedian,
right?
Because apparently he doesn't live anywhere near Boston. But
Right,
at the same
like
time, he's closer than we are. So.
Yeah, like an hour and a half from Boston, but still closer to us.
So he's a Massachusetts comedian. He's our first out-of-state comedian that we've officially interviewed.
That's true.
He's not technically but is he fun to talk to, and he's a fan of the local scene here in Maine, and we are definitely a fan of his.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, we interviewed him, and it was a great conversation, pretty funny, I thought. I forget how old I am sometimes and how young other people are sometimes. But it's not that many. It's like, 10, 12 years difference. But
when there were sometimes when you talk about, I've been doing comedy for 8 years. And then he talks about, starting when he was in college. And I was like, wait a minute,
what?
What? That doesn't add up.
But yet it does.
Wait a minute. Oh, it does. I'm old.
Yeah, that's true. But we are here at Craft Brew Underground, and we're able to do it remotely now. Wherever we want to go, because we have the technology.
We have the tools. We have the talent.
Tell me, Leonard. Tell me what the hell
reference.
It is that. Oh, is that?
That was on the movie reference for Nick Dufault. That was Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's seen that one. I don't think he's seen that one either.
I don't think he's seen that one.
No,
but but we'll follow up with Nick Dufault at some point.
Yes, but yeah, like buying equipment for the podcast has been very interesting because we started off on Zoom, doing every interview via Zoom, and we still will do some of those when people are remote.
Yeah.
And we bought like Blue Yeti microphones, and like I saw a bunch of cool reviews for Blue Yeti, and then of course we both had our Blue Yetis, and we were doing a couple of interviews, and then like a week and a half later, I saw a whole bunch of reviews that said, "Don't buy Blue Yetis, they're shit." And I was like, "Whoa, I'm sorry, I already have these, and I don't want to return them." So like we still have those for the Zoom interviews, but now we got we bought this Zoom Pod Track 4, and
no relation to Zoom Zoom
Oh yeah, no relation to Zoom. Right?
and a boom, boom, boom. And
Zoom and a Zoom.
shake
Yeah,
'em up.
as far as I know, they're not related and not related to the company
Yeah.
Zoom online, but like Zoom. So this,
If they are, someone owes us some money.
yeah, it's like we said Zoom so many times. Someone should pay us. Now I got some advice from Mike Gray on devices to get, and this thing was like pretty cheap, a few $100, and it's got 4 mic plugs in it, and we wanted to try to record in person, and we can have cords across the room for people and record on things on different tracks. And I got to learn how to actually record things on different tracks and understand kind of what that is, and it was interesting. And then I got a new Shure M, what did I know, SM or MS or something. 58.
You're off the mic now.
Oh yeah. What? You can't hear me anymore? Okay, I'm sorry. So a bunch of Shure microphones, and like it's much. I guess it seems like more professional to me, like to use this sort of equipment.
I think we have everything we possibly could need.
I think so. Yeah. We can do this interview in person with a bunch of people, with anyone. We'll travel to the back room of any bar.
Yeah. You got a bar, you got a back room.
Yeah.
You got a podcast.
Yeah. If you have a brick archway in your bar, all the better. Yeah.
Great stage to perform stand-up comedy on, by the way. But,
Yeah, we're all there.
I'm glad I have you, because if it weren't for you, none of this would happen with this technology shit. Because I can plug these mics in, and I probably could get that far. But as far as like hitting record and then equalizing later on down the road,
I gotta tell you, hitting record is the most difficult part of using this thing.
Seems to be. We did 15 minutes before this that didn't get recorded.
Like, oh wait, the red light's not on, so
we need one of those big like radio station signs that says on air.
Yeah, that's why they have those things.
That's exactly it. So even the most ridiculously stupid individuals can get into radio and podcasting, i.e. us. Speaking of stupid, we did a show recently, and we had some. I don't think they were actually. Well, no. Anybody who talks during a comedy show is a heckler. Do you think?
Yeah.
Anybody?
It's still technically heckling.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't necessarily call themselves a heckler. Like I think the general population believes heckling means I am yelling at the comedian who's on stage, and I'm disrupting him. I'm calling him an asshole, or I hate his bit, and I'm yelling at him during his bit, that sort of thing. But heckling is just like anytime you're talking to the comedian and he hasn't like explicitly invited you to talk to him.
Yeah.
That's
him or her,
right.
Them.
That's heckling.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think that's what we experienced was 2 individuals talking during everybody's set.
Right, everybody's
even during an improv set.
Yes.
Where yes, it's okay to talk, but they weren't talking to the improvers. No. They were talking amongst themselves. Loud enough so I was far away, and I could hear their actual conversation over 2 grown men yelling at a crowd doing improv.
Right.
It was impressive actually that these individuals could do that. What do you think, what for you personally, like what do you feel about hecklers? Like how do you feel?
Well, so because I'm still new to comedy, it's only been 3 years. Like I don't handle it at all. I ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
I ignore it unless it's like really, really loud and obnoxious.
Yeah.
So like I've heard people. I've got a a couple bits where I require silence.
You mean your punchlines?
Yeah. Yes, thank you very much.
That was a low blow.
That was a low blow there. Low blow. All right. We bought all this equipment for the podcast. Now we got to return it. No, I've got bits in my normal set where it's I sort of feed off of the awkward silence of the joke. And if someone jumps in and says something about Bill Cosby or says something about bananas or that sort of thing, it would throw off my joke. and I would not acknowledge it. I just wouldn't say anything about it because I don't think I'm not skilled enough to roll with it and still get back into my set. Maybe someday I'll get better at that, but I can't right now. So I really just ignore almost anything that's said to me unless it's a laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and even then, it's just like pure surprise. That's mean, Nick. Don't say things like that. It's a good thing we're physically distanced.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I feel like if we were any closer than what we are right now, it would be a little awkward being here, like we're by ourselves in the back room of a bar.
Oh yeah.
It would be like too sexual if we were
right. Because every time we've done this, we've been on Zoom.
We've been on Zoom or physically distant.
Yeah.
So being any closer than this, no, it'd be fine if we were, but. It's interesting. Yeah, I don't know about heckling.
Yeah, how do you handle it?
I had the opportunity for these hecklers at this recent show to basically tell them to shut their fucking mouths, and I think I got that across. And the funny thing is that they paid to be there.
Yeah,
like it was a paid show. It was like a ticketed show. So I can't understand why someone would talk through an event that they paid to go to. Although people talk during concerts all the time, and you pay a lot of money to be at a concert.
Yeah. Can I point out?
Yeah.
Like, so one thing you said to them was like, you said like, shut the fuck up or shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah,
so,
I did.
That sort of thing.
Not proud.
Right. Not that sort of thing that I would have a really, really hard time doing because I think about like my persona on stage.
Yeah.
And my persona on stage is like I'm this lovable, chubby dad, and I was like, I can't curse at somebody on stage. So
may be a factor,
right? But so like, does it break your character per se on stage when you think about saying shut the fuck up, or are you just sort of saying under your breath? You're kind of looking at this person over here, but you kind of want that person over there to be the one you're talking to.
I'm still developing that aspect of my persona, but I feel like I'm depressed enough on stage. My life isn't going. Like my jokes are about my life not going well. It's a self-deprecating humor, so I feel like telling someone to shut the fuck up is probably in line with that.
Okay.
Because that's not too far from what it is that I'm thinking and feeling on as my stage persona, but also it's years and years and years of pent up like anger. Okay. It's 40 years of being alive and 20 years of being an adult that it's like, okay, I'm done with the bullshit, and I don't give a shit what you say or do. Like, I'm going to tell you how I feel. God, there's a lot of swearing here. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I definitely, I think it's in that same vein, and I don't have any issue with it. I don't care what they think about me, and I don't care what they think about my persona. And but I do care about the show itself, and I don't want them. Right. If I can help out another comedian in that moment by getting rid of hecklers and tamping that down during my set, I feel like I've done a service to whomever else comes up after me.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, okay. If that makes sense at all. But obviously, as the years go on and we get better at this, thoughts may change and whatnot. Brian Plumb is very good with hecklers. It almost feels like that's his set. Is that he goes up and he wants someone to say something because then he can go off and start doing other bits and making stuff up on the stage, writing on stage, as people call it.
Right, and I tell him during the interview that he's amazing at crowd work.
Yeah,
and like sometimes during his set, I'll see him telling a joke, engaging with someone, and inviting that person to speak, and then someone says something off to his right, and he's like, looks over to the right, like, hey, what did you say? And like,
throws the car right in reverse.
Now we're over here. Yeah. Now we're over here,
and we're dealing with wherever this is. Yeah. But at the same time, like, it doesn't seem to faze him. So it's fun to watch, and I would love to have more of that.
Yeah.
For myself personally as a performer. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Hecklers. If you're listening to this and you're just a fan of comedy and you go to a comedy show, let me just say this. Don't talk unless spoken to directly.
Yeah.
Like, don't just shout things out. You're not helping any, right? I mean,
Right.
it's not something that, we go to a comedy show and we are performing and then we think to ourselves like, Jesus, I wonder what the guy sitting way back over there has to say about this particular topic, that I've thought a lot about, I've written a lot
Right.
about, like, and I've worked on this bit. A
maybe
whole
even getting
bunch.
paid for it.
I might even be getting paid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that guy over there in the corner who's clearly 3 sheets to the wind. Like, I hope he helps me, air quotes, figure this whole thing out in my 10 minutes. If he could, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So, Brian, also is somebody who's traveled a lot. He's from Massachusetts, and like he says, he lives very close proximity to a lot of different places. He's also gone across the country and done comedy. Do you envision a time? Actually, you've traveled somewhere and done comedy.
Oh yeah. So for work, I traveled to Portland, Oregon.
Right.
And
The other Portland.
The other Portland, yeah. So while I was there, I one of the comedian friends. Oh, I'm blanking on his name now. I'm sorry. But he said that he's from Oregon. He's been on a show for us. And he put me in touch with somebody who has a couple of rooms there, and said like, oh, here's a list. Oh, there's like a website for like the open mics in Portland, Oregon.
Nice.
And so I met a bunch of people, friended people on Facebook, and Ubered all around the place for a couple of nights, and it was really fun. And I think one of those guys, Ryan Danley, actually was on one of our Zoom shows.
Yeah,
he's a guy I met out there, and it was awesome to do comedy out there. So that was the first I've ever been away, Oregon.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah.
Would you
That's
attempt to go and perform any and all places? Is that a dream of yours?
I guess I don't know if dream is the right word. I mean, I guess I would do it. I want to be able to say I did it.
Yeah.
It's I think ultimately the dream is probably just is the comedy club.
Yeah.
But I think like being able to travel and do comedy elsewhere, just to see like, oh, hey, these jokes might actually work someplace other than Auburn, Maine.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine going to New York City or in LA or another comedy hotbed and having the things I say here actually hit.
Right.
Someplace else.
You really wonder about it. I wonder about it.
I like how do you rank amongst other people that are
right?
So
I did some of those jokes in Oregon, and it was one point where I was going to travel for work to Atlanta, and that trip fell through, and I was really worried about doing that sort of stuff. Like I have some jokes that are like talk about me being black but not acting very black, and I wonder about, oh, can I do this in front of like an actual majority black audience? And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can, but hey, I'm gonna do it anyway because hey, it's not like they're gonna run me out of town. I was like, I'm gonna sell these jokes and then I'm gonna get a laugh or I won't get a laugh, but hey, and then I'm gonna hop on a plane and come home.
That's a stand-up set right there.
Right.
I'm gonna do jokes and I'm either gonna get a laugh or I'm not.
Right. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, I'd love to travel. I'd love to see other parts of the country or the world and do comedy. Excuse me. This cider's kicking my ass. But obviously that's a bridge to cross later on. I hope to do it with you though.
Oh,
I hope you and I can go do something
cool.
Someplace travel, go on the road. So it's getting a little mushy.
Yeah.
All right, let's cut that out. Let's cut that out. The alcohol is just killing us.
Let's rent the River Comics.
This is
RV.
what happens when you actually get comedy think tanked.
We're actually tanked. Okay, so stop sitting in your letters.
Yeah, exactly. No more emails, folks. No more text messages. Let's kick it over to the interview, and if you guys haven't heard Brian Plumb, I highly suggest you look him up, you seek him out. He's in Maine a lot, and obviously other places. So damn it, is there anything else to say besides further ado? Please, that's what we want to get emailed to us.
Yeah.
We want somebody to tell us how to segue into our interviews.
So, next up, please listen to us. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry.
No, that's good.
Yes,
Brian Plumb, everyone. Brian Plumb.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the Comedy Think Tank podcast with us, Leonard Kimball and Nick Gordon. I'm Nick. Today we have one of the most delightful, energetic, well-versed, intelligent comedians ever to work the circuit, Brian Plumb. Good to see you.
Thank you. Well, all that's probably not true, but I appreciate it. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said about me. So I feel warm and fuzzy inside now. Thank you for having me.
You know, it's written on a computer, so it must be true.
It's on your work laptop covered in stickers, so it's got to be true.
Brian's making fun of my new comedy work laptop, and I've got stickers of the thinking guy meme. I've got the Superman. I've got Obama, and I got Jordan, and of course I have our podcast and the River Comics stickers.
Who knew that? I mean, Obama's got to be proud. He's like, out of all the shit I've done, I'm glad I'm on your laptop.
He's finally made it.
He's finally made it.
He's on next week, right?
I wasn't gonna make fun. I wasn't gonna make fun of you, but then you called it my professional laptop as we're in the back room of a bar, 9 feet apart.
I'm a goddamn professional.
It's fair enough. Fair enough. I think
what's going on with you
fair
guys?
game.
What's happening?
Well, you know, we're just here recording our first out-of-state interview. We thank you. You're the first non-main comedian to be on the podcast.
It's an honor. It's an honor.
Yeah, I just want to
First Massachusetts comedian to be on this podcast.
Because there's only like 150,000 of you guys.
Yeah. There's only 4 of us that are good, and there's 990,000 other ones.
And you guys just had to cross the border eventually.
And everyone is from outside of Boston. That's how it works.
But everyone says they're from Boston.
Of
right?
course, that's how it goes.
Yeah,
People just choose the biggest city.
So you're not actually from Boston?
No, I'm from Western Massachusetts, which is an hour and a half outside of Boston.
Oh, wow.
I'm near like the Berkshires, like the hill towns. So.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So I am far away from any civilization. It's a lot like Maine, except I don't know, less bears probably. I don't know.
Are there other mics that way? Are there places to perform on a regular basis?
The funny part is about Western Mass is it's like an hour away from every major city, so there's not much really going on right now.
Yeah.
As far as Western Mass comedy goes, but it's like an hour from Rhode Island, an hour from Boston, an hour from Albany, New Hampshire, Maine. So you can, if you work, you can set up to where you can work everywhere, which is nice.
That's cool.
It's a nice home base.
Driving an hour for comedy is not ridiculous, I don't feel.
No, especially like I do a lot less driving now than when I started, so it's like an hour is nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even like driving 3 hours here, if you stay over, make a day out of it, it's like what are you gonna do? There's nothing to do. It's like everything's closed. It's like if I have a place to talk about my dick, I'm gonna do it.
100%. Yeah. So right now down there, is there anything going on at all? Or?
Boston just opened up. Like Laugh Boston just opened up. I just did a club last week in Worcester called the Comedy Attic that just opened. That was super fun.
Nice.
So Massachusetts in general is just starting to open up. But before, during pandemic, I was doing shows in Connecticut at like farms.
Oh,
I bombed so bad at a show at a farm that I got heckled by a goat. That's a real thing. Like a joke bombed so bad, I ended up rebounding because, and I was like, "That's so bad, an actual animal doesn't like it." Like that's when you know it's bad.
That's pretty funny. So the goat was like right there, stage side.
Dude, the goat was literally stage right. Like he was watching me. Like he was like, "I'll check this shit out." I haven't seen a comedy show at this farm before. It was bizarre. It ended up being super fun. It was a cool venue, but it's like I look over and see a goat. I'm just like, this is what am I doing? Like this is.
Did you see the goat before you got on stage? Or
No, he came out of fucking nowhere. I didn't think there were goats. I knew it was a farm, but I was like, I don't know, maybe they put the animals in a different direction for the show. And then I look over stage right as the joke's not working, and I just make eye contact with a goat. I'm just like, do you like it? He's like, Mrr. I'm like, okay, guess not. Or maybe he did like it. I don't fucking know what it is.
We don't
I don't
know
speak
goats.
goat, but I assume.
Yeah, well, getting heckled by a goat has got to be, a rare comedy story. So
It's the first time I've been heckled by an animal. So that's definitely rare. But that's how you bring. I did a lot of weird outside shows during COVID. It's just the nature of the beast, I guess. People would show up in lawn chairs and just get shit faced. And at the same farm, someone actually parked their RV like down the distance from the show, and they were just watching me from their house.
Wow.
Like, it was just so bizarre.
They put out the little awning thing and they
Lawn
sat
thing,
around.
and they didn't pay for the show, dickbags. They just like literally strolled their home into a field and was like, "We're gonna watch you for free." I'm like, "You guys are losers."
That's fun. That's funny. That's funny. Who books that show? Can we get on?
Yeah, I'll send you the name. I think it's too cold now, but
Yeah. Oh man, I like that. I like that a lot. Did you do any? What they had the drive-in shows up here? We had a bunch of drive-in.
thank
shows.
God. It's the two things I
Can you
refused
imagine?
to do during
Yeah.
COVID were Zoom shows and drive-in shows. It's like I don't want to bomb in my own house. It's like the last thing I want to do is bomb in my kitchen, surrounded by people and screens. I've heard horror stories. My buddy was doing a Zoom show, and half the crowd would just mute it and watch Netflix. It's like that's awful. And as far as like drive-in shows, it's like if you beep, is it good? Can you hear laughter? It's like it's so much bullshit.
Yeah, usually driving around beeping connotates somebody's pissed off, right?
Yeah,
Like,
we're not happy right
yeah,
now.
so
Yeah.
it's like okay.
But
is-
I
is
mean,
it-
I guess I bet if you do one of those huge drive-in shows, it's probably fun. But
They're probably cool. I definitely saw a bunch of those online that people were doing. I never attended one, never performed at one. But the Zoom shows we definitely did, and we had I don't want to say who it was because they might be related to me, but in the background you could hear Jeopardy playing. There was Jeopardy
so
on the
funny.
TV, and we're trying to tell jokes, and like they're talking to each other, answering the Jeopardy questions.
that's so funny. That's the problem. It's like it's just too personal. It's like
Yeah.
we're in people's home. It's like there should be some investment when it comes to a comedy show. Like you're supposed to leave your house,
Right.
pay for a ticket, and then you're forced to pay attention.
Buy 2 drinks.
Yeah, but you're forced. It makes you so you have some sort of investment in the comedy. When you're just home dicking around, it's like, why would you give a shit?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm in comedy, and I wouldn't watch someone on my fucking computer screen tell jokes. I'd be like, get the
there's
fuck
definitely
out of
been
here.
times. There's been times where it's like, oh, we should check out that Zoom show. I was like, I'm good.
No, you're good. Yeah, it seems like a good idea, and then you think about it for maybe 3 seconds, and
Yeah.
you're like, nope, Jeopardy.
There's more stuff on TV to watch.
Or I'm feeling old, and I'm like, oh, I'll just go to bed.
Just and yeah, go to bed, rub one out, just anything else.
So we're catching you in the middle of a couple shows on what's been called your birthday tour.
Yes.
Today's your birthday. How old do
is.
you really feel?
I feel 90, and I'm 29, so it's yeah, no, I feel good. Even last night was fun. You know, we had some issues with a drunk lady, but it's the nature of the beast. I mean, what are you gonna do? You handled her very well. I mean,
Thank
she
you.
left for a good 2 seconds, and then she was like, "I'm gonna come back," and we were like, "Please don't."
She got thirsty. I think she went out to the car with her boyfriend.
Well,
I don't know what happened out there.
She
but-
probably they probably did crack. I don't know what they did, but I was there drinking at like 6, which is probably not the best. And this guy was, I could already tell, like she had that look in her eye. As soon as the bartender was like, "There's a comedy show," and I was like, "Great, thanks, Susan. Way to upsell it." And the lady was just like, "Oh, I can't wait. Do we have to buy tickets?" And this is when I knew it was going to be a problem. And the bartender goes, "Yeah, it's $7." And the lady was like, "Oh, that's a little much." I'm like, "Really? $7 fucking is too much?" The fucking purple drink that you've been slamming for the last 80 minutes has got to be $8 a piece. And you're like, you're like, $7 for comedy? It's terrible. I'm like, you're a scumbag. I'm like, of course she was going to yell the whole time.
The whole time.
She did. She talked.
I'm actually getting impressed with those levels. Like that heckler doesn't make me mad because they committed.
Oh yeah.
It's like they yelled
yeah.
the entire time. In which
Right.
case, you almost have to respect it.
yeah.
Yeah, don't you? At
Stamina.
this point, they're like, don't you know who I am? You know who I am now.
Yeah. But it was fun. We had a good time. It was a good hang. I mean, it's good to see all you guys and like
Yeah.
all the Maine's got a good scene. So whenever I come up here, it's fun to hang out with Maine comics, kind of get away from, all the New England stuff.
Yeah. We have a pretty good scene. It's impressive actually.
Yeah, there's a lot of people with potential. Between Mark and Leonard, I mean, there's a lot of work, which is good. I
Yeah.
mean, the first step to creating a good scene has got to be, creating a bunch of good shows. Even last night, I mean, you can learn a lot from dealing with what happened last night.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it was still a great show. And one of the people came up to me afterwards and said like, oh, they were like getting involved in the show. Is that okay? And I was like, well, it seems like. So I said like Brian is good at handling that. I'm like, don't do that with me. Like I can't do that. But Brian, I'm impressed by how well you can actually handle a crowd. Like
I
you do,
appreciate it.
You do crowd work a lot, and I'm really impressed.
It's
by how you
happened.
do it.
It's years and years of having shows like that where you have no choice but to, Because at some shows are just like a fight with the audience. It's just like sometimes it's just like a 35-minute UFC fight where it's like if you don't have that skill to deal with that when you're doing that long, then you're just gonna get eaten alive.
Right, it's true.
What makes me laugh really hard. The best comics, by the way, of dealing with that is I love comedians who just don't deal with that, who just tell their jokes and just not even acknowledge it and just do that for an hour. I love that because it's so impressive and I could never do it.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an hour of material, but like if I do a 10-minute, 50-minute set, if someone says something, I'm just like, yep.
Yeah, you're just moving on.
Nothing happened. Nothing to see here. Nothing happened there.
Yeah, it's definitely a useful skill when you start going at the end of shows. Even you last night, like you did great.
Thanks.
And I honestly thought the way you were doing that it would stop, but then in my head I'm like, this lady's not stopping.
There's no way. Yeah.
And then she told me after, she's like, it's my hometown bar. I'm like, that's why you're being a dick.
Yeah.
We took over your hometown bar, and now you can't drink with your other degenerate housewives.
They can't kick me out. No.
What actually needs to happen in those situations is for the bartender or the owner to say, like, you need to be quiet.
That's why I was shocked that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Or I honestly think if someone were to go over, I almost did. And actually, I think Mark did at one point, was like, can you guys keep it down? But sometimes you run into these shows where it's like, there's nothing you could do.
Yeah.
And honestly, for the majority, they were good for pretty much everyone. I mean, they started to get a little chatty during you. And by the time I got up, it was just like, what are you going to do?
Yeah. No, it's a good skill to have. And
right.
Do you think you've ever done a full 30 minutes or a full set without someone heckling you, or do you think you bring it on because that's like your style? That's what you.
No,
want.
I rather do sets with no. If I love getting the audience involved when I can control it.
Yeah.
When you can kind of do either call and response or crowd work or start busting balls because you can control it.
Yeah.
The difference is when I have it in my hands, I could go into jokes when I want and talk about stuff when I want to and kind of control the outcome. When some drunk idiot's just yelling, there's nothing you can do. Like at one point, I literally said last night, person to person, can you stop talking?
Yeah,
like,
I heard that.
I left the comedy show. It was like, as a human, can you stop it? Because I really want to work on these jokes for tomorrow. And she was like, don't give a shit. Gonna keep talking. And I was like, please stop.
I've never heard someone say person to person.
Yeah, I was like person to human to human, just you and I talking. Can you cut it out?
You think that would be enough for someone to? But I guess when you're drinking and whatnot, or
she was hammering.
Yeah.
She's a townie, and it's like
yeah.
whatever. Brunswick is, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, no,
It's
it's
kinda-
true. It's hit or miss over there.
And then like
We love Brunswick, though. By the way,
like
Yeah, by the way.
even when people are
Thank you very much for having us.
even supportive heckling's annoying. Like that one dude when I was talking about axe throwing
yeah.
was like, we're going, and I'm like, what? And he's like, we're gonna go axe throwing together. I'm like, we're not doing anything. I'm trying to do a job, and you're just yelling at me. Can I talk about this? And he's like, he kept going. No, I'm gonna take you. It's fun. I'm like, I don't give a shit. That's not the point of the joke. It was so ridiculous. He's like, and then his friend was like, he's really gonna take you. I'm like, we're not friends. I don't know what's going. We're not together. Like, what are you? Like, even though he's like a sweet guy and he came up to me after, it's like we had a blast. Even stuff like that is so annoying. Like he's just like, no, we're going. I'm like, no, we're not. I don't live here.
There is something to be said about intelligent crowds. Not saying that anyone there is unintelligent, but like knowing that you're at a comedy show, recognizing like what the purpose is. Because we've talked about this before, where you go to a bar or a restaurant and someone's in the corner playing guitar. They're doing cover songs of, whatever, Dave Matthews cover songs, and they're over in the corner. Like, you can chat, you can do whatever you want through the whole thing. You can eat, you can order another drink. But during a comedy show, like, you need the audience to buy into and listen to what you're saying. And it's such an important skill to have as an audience member.
Yeah, and that usually happens in towns where, like, when you go to towns or rooms like this where people are conditioned to listen to comedy, then people know how to act. When you go to just, like, a towny bar where people are used to being the center of attention and they look at other people being the center of attention with a microphone, they have good intentions. I get why they want to get involved, but it's like, you got to just cut it out.
Yeah, it's so true.
But we had a time. We did it. So we got through it. It was still a lot of fun. I mean, people left happy, and I was like,
right. That at the end of the day,
your brother paid my tab, which was nice.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah. I was gonna thank you for that.
Wow.
I kept trying to get dumb Susan over to pay my tab.
And
I was like, Susan, let's go. Let's wrap it up. And she goes, is his brother paid? I go, what?
Wow.
And kept going, the brother paid. I'm like, whose brother?
The brother.
And then she kept going, the brother. I'm like, whatever. And Mark's like, I think she means Nick's brother. I'm like,
so she didn't mean me.
No. No, you never know. I mean,
That's funny. Well, that's cool because if it was in fact my brother, he still owes me for a pair of sneakers I bought him.
well, he spent that on my whiskey, so
Oh,
I mean,
that was nice of him.
You're welcome. That's good. That is very nice of him. That's cool.
It was.
That's good to know. Speaking of brothers and whatnot, oh god, that's a bad segue. You're a Boston sports fan. Are you a racist?
no. What if I just said yes and you have to edit the whole thing? Like, we can't release this now.
Like, all right.
No, I'm not.
That was a horrible. I'm just kidding.
No. At least I don't think I am. Now I don't know.
Nah, but as a Boston,
If I pose with a picture with Leonard with a thumbs up, does that mean I'm not racist?
oh man, that was bad.
I think yes. That means you're not racist.
Okay, we're good then.
That's all it takes.
No.
That was really bad. Sorry.
Great.
No, don't worry about it.
I wrote that to try to be funny and
I liked it. Whatever.
I'm getting letters now. Apparently, people
Emails
don't
are
like
flowing
it.
in.
People don't like it.
this is not a live show.
I don't think enough people listen to this to write letters.
You wait.
This blows up and all of a sudden I'm canceled.
That would be
No,
something.
I love Boston sports. That's why I'm actually enjoying during the pandemic, during less comedy, because I could just like sit there and watch a game and drink a beer without having to do some stupid show on a Wednesday. So,
All right, what's your favorite sport?
honestly, I'm between hockey and football.
Okay.
I can't decide. I love just Sunday afternoon, couple of whiskeys, watching the Patriots. I mean, that might be my favorite thing.
Yeah.
It's the closest to heaven I think we're gonna get. Like no news, no CNN, no bullshit. Just like
Just watching
people
the-
hitting each other and us drinking, watching them ruin their brains. It's my favorite thing.
Yeah, no, it is true. But hockey, we're in hockey season right now.
Oh, I love hockey. Hockey's the best too.
What about the recent trades of?
I love
the
it. I
Bruins?
think it's a great move.
Yeah.
It shows that they're going for it. I like all the moves. If Taylor Hall can get, anywhere within MVP form, even half of his talent, it's gonna work out.
Yeah.
So
They're 3-0 since he came on. So
yeah, so I think it's gonna work
can't
out.
Beat that. Let's talk about your actual life, like your day job. You work in a
I
nursing
do.
home.
I work at a nursing home at an overnight manager. I don't even know what that means. It's not even a real title. But yeah, basically just my old job is to basically just make sure no one dies. It's the whole thing.
If
I mean-
everyone wakes up the next morning, you get to keep your
Yeah,
job.
now I'm employed still.
Here's your
That's
paycheck.
funny.
But it's funny because now they're starting to have me do like more maintenance stuff, and I'm a Jew and never have done maintenance in my entire life, so I just fuck everything up. And they genuinely came to me one day. They're just like, "Why can't you paint?" And I'm just like, "Cause it's Passover. I don't know what you want from me." And I'm like, I have no mechanical skills. Like my parents are both corporate people. Like we can't fix anything.
That's
My
funny.
biggest skill as a maintenance person is to reach into my wallet and pay someone who can fix shit.
Oh yeah.
And like, I remember I got written up for not painting a door because my boss wanted. I really hope this doesn't get me fired. I really don't care. And now I think he's just fucking with me because now he gave me like a green door to paint, like dark green. He's like, it has to be white by tomorrow, and I'm like, no, it's not gonna happen. So I painted it, and I wish I had a picture of it. It's horrendous. It's literally like a third grade autistic person did it. Like it's kind of white with spots of polka dot green coming through, and I'm just like, that's your door. Take it or leave it. Don't care.
Wow. You can't paint a dark green door white. Like that's
And
impossible.
also it's like I work 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. I'm not painting at 3 a.m. That's not happening.
Yeah,
no, you shouldn't have to do
no
that.
one
Three
paints at
quarters
3.
asleep, just.
You should be able to just have your feet on the desk and snooze a little bit at 3 a.m. Painting a door. That's funny.
It's horrific. But honestly, it's a good job. It's Monday through Wednesday, so it's like I don't really. It's very not hard. And
Monday through you have three overnight shifts.
Yeah, 3 overnights, then I'm done.
Oh wow.
That is
okay.
pretty good.
So it's like I
want
can
that
still
job.
do comedy. And they were like, "Do you want to work anymore?" I'm like, "No,
No, truth be told, I do not.
I don't want to work anymore."
No. You're gonna make me paint doors? So
But
no.
it's good. I mean, it's weird though when I'm not sure if you guys have had to deal with this, but when people at work like know you do comedy, it's the fucking worst.
Yeah.
They just come up to you like, you should talk about me. It's like, yeah, Cheryl, I'm gonna fucking talk about you. It's like, unless you have a heroin problem, you're not interesting.
Yeah, I've had people announce that I'm a comedian, like at offsite, programs, like in front of a room full of people that know who I am, and then it's like, oh shit, now what?
Well, it's the worst because I'm at
Yeah.
the point where like, especially because I'm a local comedian. I work, and a lot of people kind of know our group of comedians. So then you get coworkers who know someone who saw me, and then they want to come out and see you. It's like, I don't want the worlds to mix.
Yeah.
Because if you see my act, I'm fired. That's pretty much like you're not gonna want me in the office.
Well, that's
after
true.
You see
Yeah.
me do an hour.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing crowd work and then like, suddenly you're doing crowd work to like a coworker or a boss. And like, oh, now I just shit on my boss and he's sitting right there.
I'd like to think they would know that it's outside of work, but I don't even want to deal with that.
Uh-huh.
It's like no one from work should come see you. That should be a rule.
Right. No one from work, and your family just once. Like your family comes and sees and says, "Oh yeah, they're actually doing it. That's cool. They're not going out and just getting drunk."
Yeah. No, my family is great. I mean, they've come to see me a bunch of times and never have any issues. I just hate working. That's like I hate showing up to an office and being like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Tell me a joke. Okay.
All that stupid corporate talk. Like, aren't we blessed? It's like none of us are blessed.
No. We're great. We have a paycheck. We pay our bills, but otherwise,
it's like we're here so we don't starve. Let's just get one thing straight.
We want a roof over our head, clothes on our back. Yeah, it's true.
So working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday probably makes it more convenient for you to do comedy shows. I mean,
yeah. Well, it means that once I start hopefully traveling more, it means I could not work, which is good. I mean, it's the perfect schedule. I mean, I've done the whole thing where I work 5 or 6 days a week and use sick days and come up with excuses and have 9 grandmas die so I can make a show. It's like, I don't want to go through that again where it's like, you're just got to keep your web of corporate lies together. I once told a company when I first graduated college that I went to the Rose Bowl in California and I didn't tell them. And I whatever. I just said I was sick. I was in California day drinking. And I was late. I told them when I was day drinking that I was going to come back at a certain day, forgot, came back on a different day. And I made up this whole ridiculous lie that like the wing broke while we were in takeoff and like all this shit. Like it got to the point where the lie was so stupid, but they also couldn't prove that it wasn't true. Like I literally said like as we were taxiing, like the wing broke and we had to stay on the tarmac for like a day and babies were starving. And I'm like... And my boss was just like, knew it wasn't true, but couldn't prove it. I'm just like, I'm going to go back to work.
Yeah. Didn't you see that on the news? Yeah.
It was all over.
Like, and I could have just said, like, I was away and didn't get back in time. But
they probably wouldn't have minded if you just said that. Yeah.
But in my mind, I'm like, yeah, the wing broke. That's plausible.
This seems right. That's something a 22-year-old would say, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was definitely something that was a nightmare of a job.
Yeah. You didn't stay there much longer, I'm sure.
No, I came in one day. Actually, I got fired on my birthday today in 2016.
Oh wow,
it was hilarious. Here's the story. So I knew it was bad because I saw like my manager in the elevator, and she goes, "So you're gonna be doing more shows?" I'm like, "I don't know." And then I get to my desk, it's all packed up, and in my head I'm like, well, now I'm going to do more shows. Now I have to do more shows.
I wish I had known this before you asked me that question.
So then they bring me down to HR, and I'm just being a dick. Like, I know I'm gone. I don't give a shit anymore. And they're just like, so there's a couple of things we need to go over. And I'm like, can we not? Can we not? And they're like, no, is there something you want to say? I'm like, it's my birthday. I hate this job. Like, I know I'm fired. Can I just take my cardboard? And it was like raining. So I'm just walking out with all my stuff in a cardboard box on my birthday while it's raining. I'm like, this is the best.
Oh,
and like
man.
now the world's so fucked up that I had to have like a legit cop bring me out to my car.
Really?
Because they think like people that get fired are like a risk for mass shooting. So I would make like jokes on the way out, like, I don't know, maybe I'll come back.
Oh, no.
And like all this shit just beat a total dick, and the cop like was writing shit down. I'm like, and the guy's name was Mike. I go, Mike, keep the door open Monday for me. And I just left, and that's the last thing I said at that fucking job.
Wow.
All his coworkers look over at Mike.
Yeah,
he's kidding.
Meanwhile, my FBI profile is probably fucked.
Yeah, wow, that's intense. But at the same time, I love it. You're my hero.
Oh, it's the best. I mean, I had never cared about. It didn't affect me at all. Like people, I have a great job now. I'm in a much better place. It's like that job blew.
Yeah,
I was giving financial advice. I had no business doing that. I was like investing retirement accounts and making up financial advice. Like I was the worst. I would just like. People would be like, why is this stock this way? I go, it's green. Who cares? The economy's great. Let's go.
That's great.
It's America, baby. It was like right when Wolf of Wall Street came out. It was like on Adderall being like, let's go.
Oh, your life could have gone in such a different direction.
Oh my God, yeah. If I stayed at that company, me with a lot of money probably wouldn't be good. But
Probably not. You'd be like a real life Peter Griffin. Just
oh yeah, I'd be like
buying helicopters.
I'd be like everyone gets drugs and booze. Let's go.
So that was what you said, 2016.
Yes.
So, yeah. So you had started doing comedy before then because you
Yeah, I
did 8
started
years?
in. Did I start? Started in 2013.
Yeah. Okay.
Or maybe 13. December of 13. That's when I did my first open mic.
So you were definitely in that mode of I'm going to make jokes about any awkward situation.
Yeah, I mean, I was at the point where I knew I wanted to do this, so
Yeah.
anything else was just a means to do comedy. So,
Yeah.
like, that's why a job or getting fired from that job never really mentally affected me because I just didn't care.
Yeah.
To me, it was at that job, Mass Mutual. I probably shouldn't say the name, but fuck them, they were terrible. And at that point, like people were afraid to just like talk. It was right when the PC shit started when I was there. Like we would have meetings, and no joke, there were giant laminated stickers of emojis, like
Jesus.
sad, happy, like all these emotions, and then they had a sticker at the bottom that was just a picture of a pirate, no context. So every meeting, I would just initial the pirate because I thought it was hilarious.
Oh Jesus.
And like every manager, and I'd be the only one with the balls to do the pirate, and everyone else, like fucking Jennifer with her dumb skirt, would be like, "I'm happy." Okay, you're on Xanax. That's why you're fucking happy. And then, but every day my manager, Tammy, would be like, "Is there any reason you feel like a pirate?" I'm like, "Why is this an option?" Has anyone thought of why we're a bunch of adults around emojis? Like, what? The world is broken. And I would just like freak out. And my manager would be like, "You need to go back to your desk." I'm like, "We're fucked as a nation." I'm like, "We're literally fucked." And she'd be like, "Is there anything else you want to say?" I go, "I'm a pirate, I guess." That's where we're at. And then I would just fucking, like, here's how bad it was. Like, they had this computer system because they always used to track you. And they always used to, so they used to have a thing called you switch your computer system to in the bathroom.
Yeah.
I would leave that shit on for hours.
in
and just
bathroom.
meander around and hit on chicks and
So
fucking.
all your coworkers get to know when you go into the bathroom.
Yeah, all your coworkers know when you're on break, lunch, but I would just leave it on bathroom.
That's why
And just
you're a
meander
pirate.
around. I sent terrible emails, because I sent corporate emails like text messages. I was like, "Yo, what up, homie?" Like all this shit. And one time, like I freaked out on this guy because I used to do the whole job was over the phone. I used to give financial advice over the phone and talk about their retirement account. And this one Vietnam veteran was just like a pain in the ass. So I just called him old and that his generation sucked and all this shit. I'm like, "So what? You got drafted. That doesn't make you a good person, and we lost." Like all this shit. And I remember literally going to my manager's office. This was like the penultimate before I got fired. This was like when I really started not to give a shit.
Yeah.
And she called me in the office and just pressed play. And I had to listen to me just shitting on a Vietnam veteran.
Oh, so that's why they record the telephone calls.
That's why they record telephone calls. So
Yeah.
it's not for you, it's for us, so we don't
Yeah.
get fired. But
Yeah.
the whole job was
But
dumb.
that got you fired, or
No,
almost.
that didn't get me fired. What ultimately, I think it was too many absences. It was a culmination of everything. They were just so sick of me. It was week 4 of being the pirate. They were just like, "We can't have this."
Yeah. That's funny.
But it was so much fun.
I love it. I have been fired from jobs. I actually got fired from the same job twice.
That's amazing.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, now you gotta.
Well,
Yeah, the
it's-
first one didn't take. What happened?
So I was there was a new ice arena that opened up near my house, and I became a Zamboni driver, and I can't remember the exact circumstances, but allegedly I had sworn in like the skate sharpening room, and one of the board of directors heard me say something that she didn't like, and that got me fired. And then over the course of the next year, they had other people either get fired or leave. I don't know what happened, but they asked me to come back because I was one of the few people around who knew how to drive the Zamboni. And so I came back and worked again. And then some kid puked. It was New Year's Eve, and there was like an open skate or something, and the kid puked on the bench, and I didn't clean it up properly.
Oh, come on. That's not on you. That's on the dumb kid.
Well, right. So the next day I actually went down to Boston, and I got drunk with a friend, came back the next day as we're driving back. I get a phone call. I was fired again from the same job.
For not cleaning that well?
cleaning up someone's puke. This is what I was told.
That's so dumb.
I was like, but the point of it is, I'm a hockey guy, and I got fired from being a Zamboni driver twice. Like the greatest job in the world as a hockey guy.
Also, you think you think not a very many. Like, what's the competition for being a Zamboni driver? You don't clean up puke once and you're done.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
what kind of kid pukes on the bench? That kid should be done.
Yeah, exactly. There's trash cans everywhere. I know it was a hell of a thing, but yeah. So those are the only times I got fired from a job, but the same job twice.
One of the greatest things about this company, though, is so I had this one buddy who I can't say his name because he's sober now. So we used to get all fucked up on like a Tuesday because there was a bar right next to work.
Oh yeah.
We used to get blackout drunk. He used to have to stay over my house, and then we drink till like 6 a.m. and we'd have to like call out on the automated system like while we were shit faced. So I just want to go in one day.
So it gets recorded
and see. It gets recorded and just me going, I am not gonna make it tomorrow. I have the flu again, and like it would be like an hour before I have to go away and they couldn't say anything since you have like the time to use. But I really want those recordings of me being like, and then I remember like we called out once on the same phone. Like he'd be like, I'm not coming in. And I would be like, I'm also not coming in. We decided to do this together because it'd be a waste if we had to do 2 separate phone calls.
We don't want to give everybody else the flu we have, so
we have the flu together at 6 a.m. So take that for what it is.
We're quarantining together.
You can't question that now, right? If someone calls out sick, you can't question that now.
That was one of the funniest things ever, though. Just us calling out together while we're shit-faced. We are not doing it.
That's great. Together, we've decided.
But now, it's hard to miss my job now because if you're too fucked up to be somewhere at 8 p.m., then you have problems. Like,
that's when you know you have a problem.
Yeah,
right?
that's when you know.
You'd be like, ooh, I got to go to a meeting.
Yeah. You need to get to a comedy show. Yeah.
Well, let's get back to comedy shows. What's the furthest you've traveled for a show?
I've done a couple shows in Los Angeles, just
nice.
Bar shows and stuff around there. I did a few spots in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Cool.
I've done some spots in Florida, Georgia. Oh, that's about it as far as outside states.
Yeah.
Upstate New York.
Nice.
A couple spots in New York City. I mean,
excellent.
Not really far in terms of, because there's a lot of quality stage time in New England. So there's almost, unless I'm going to open for someone who wants me on the road with them, there's no sense in kind of leaving. Because a lot of comics say they're like, oh, I'm doing a show in Florida just to say they're doing it, but the show's garbage.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it doesn't make sense to go.
Yeah.
They just want to have the reputation of being like, oh, I'm on the road. It's like, yeah, but
that's not.
You're not really. You're just doing a fucking bar show in Orlando for free.
You could have done that in your backyard.
Yeah, exactly. You could have done that in Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Would you be a road comic? Would you want to do that and just say
I think it'd be nice to have like a home base in New England or a bigger market and go on the road like 3 times a month would be fun. I'd like A rooms at that level would be fun, like an Improv or a Helium or like any other. The House of Comedies are also good.
Yeah,
that's the club I did when I was in Arizona. It'd be fun because that's where you can really develop and see new parts of the country and see if your jokes work universally.
Yeah,
so I think that'd be cool.
That would be cool. I think it's everybody's dream. But do you think you're in a position in life where you could and would do that, or do you want something else out of life?
No, this is all I want to do.
Okay.
I think I'm at the position. I'm kind of at a crossroads to where I do need to make a move at some point if I want to go for it. Especially because I could work. There are retirement homes all around the country, so it's like I'm debating kind of moving to Los Angeles, maybe because my theory is that a lot of people are moving to Austin. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be some availability and opportunities in Los Angeles, and I kind of have a limited amount of connections there, so it'd be kind of cool to at least try and make it. In worst case, I move back, so it's like
you can always come home.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm. I mean, I've been in New England for 8 years, so it's like I've done a good amount here, and it'd be fun to try it somewhere else.
Yeah, agreed.
So where were you from? Where are you from originally?
I'm from Western Mass originally.
Oh. Okay.
So, I grew up there. I went to high school in Western Mass, and then my grades weren't great, so I had to go to college in Western Mass. I went to Westfield State University, which is like 25 minutes away from my house.
Okay.
Stayed on campus from September to October, and then they decided that I couldn't live there anymore because of my binge drinking. So,
oh, man.
Because me and my roommates, when I went to college, I thought it was going to be like American Pie. Like, I thought you'd be able to knock on doors and binge drink and titties everywhere. Like, that's literally what I thought college was. And then I got there and everyone studied. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? This is a terrible college. Why are you studying? We're all middle management at best. Let's have some fun. So I remember, like, my parents literally moved me in. They left, and me and my one friend named Tarquin, he's a black kid who I grew up with. I'm sorry, Leonard.
It's okay. It's allowed.
But it's the first time I tried Hennessy. That's why I'm bringing it up. And we mixed it with root beer, which might have been the worst decision I've ever made in 10 years. And then we just got blackout, and then it continued like that. And
that was night one.
That was night one. And then we just kept drinking for a month. And this is when it all spiraled. So at that point, like, I was drinking. I remember I drank a Four Loko or two before a final.
Oh, Jesus.
And it was one of those blue books, right? Remember those blue, like, books that you used to write answers in?
Oh, yeah.
I filled up the whole book with how drunk I was and how much I don't want to do this class.
Oh, man.
Oh.
And the professor gave me a D because he thought it was funny. He's like, honestly, I wanted to fail you, but I've never seen this in 20 years of teaching, so good for you. And I didn't fail the class. But so this is when it all went downhill. So I didn't realize, like, I thought my friends were, like, we did a normal amount of drinking. Like, to me, that was just normal. But then I brought my friends to college, and my roommates looked at us like we were zoo animals. Like, they would literally look at us like, this isn't normal. And I'm like, no, it's fine. We've only had 8, and we're going to go to the bar now.
So your high school friends and the kids you grew up with were just similar to you.
Well, yeah,
and
we
the
all.
kids
I mean,
you're going
we're
to college
all
with.
like my best friend's a dentist. My other friend's a plumber. Like, they're all successful, but they're all like.
We're 21.
We're all 21-year-old booze bags. Like, I didn't really want to go to college in general. I was just like, I'll go. It'll be fun. I'll have my degree. And then I just wanted to have fun. Like, I didn't care at all. And then, but my friends came up and we threw, like, it must have been a dorm the size of this where we are sitting, like maybe 6 by 6. And we had 4 dudes living there. And then we had another 4 people pre-gaming. And then all of a sudden there's 50 people running in and out of the room. There's naked chicks. There's drugs. There's, like, all sorts of shit. It looked like Studio 54. And then, like, my friend passed out, and he was on his back, and all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, we hear gurgling.
Oh, Jesus.
And he started projectile volcano puking while he was on his back. People started running, and then there was, like, a nurse fucking wiping up the puke because she was a nursing major. She's like, I got it. I'm like, whatever, Sophie, whatever you got to do. People are running out of the room. And then, like, a campus cop knocks on the door and goes, I'm like, I got it. I open the door, literally shit-faced. There's maybe 30 people behind me, and he goes, is there anything going on here? I'm like, no. He's like, you reek of booze, and you're under 21, and we see people with booze. I'm like, no, there isn't.
Yeah.
And so at Westfield, it's a criminal justice school. That's their main.
Oh, even better.
That's their. So everyone there wants to be a cop. So what they do when you get caught drinking is that you get what's called a 10-100, which is 10 hours of community service and $100 fine. I got 3 of those in a month. At one point, the professor was like, oh, hey, Brian. Like, he just knew me by first name who ran the class. It's like, more community service? I'm like, yep, round 2.
Yeah, let's do this.
So you became an expert at community service.
Well, that's how I really started going hard in stand-up, because I ended up commuting to college, and I had a car. And my college was 15 minutes away. So I'm just like, why am I going to college parties when I could just do open mics and get better at the stuff I actually want to do? So it ended up being the best thing that ever happened. That 1 month was crazy fun, but I was like, I can't do this all year.
This will kill me.
Yeah. So what sparked the interest in comedy? Like,
I've always wanted to do it. I've loved it ever since I was a kid. I just, it was one of those things that I always, and my whole family's hilarious. I mean, my dad's hilarious. My mom is happy. Way too happy, but funny, and my brother's hilarious, and we all just kind of bust balls. And
does anyone else actually do stand up?
No, I'm the only one.
Yeah.
So, and all my friends were hilarious. I was like class clown and shit. I always fuck around in high school and shit. So it's like, I remember I tried to buy the entire snack bar with Monopoly money, just like shit like that, when I was like fucking in 9th grade.
So do you remember the first time you got a laugh in front of a group of people that, you actually thought to yourself, I need to get a laugh here? And,
well, yeah, it becomes a weird sort of addiction. Like, I would always, in class, I would just go for the laugh. Like, I wouldn't pay attention. I would just go for the laugh.
Yeah.
And I had teachers tell me multiple times, like, if you spent half the time studying instead of trying to make everyone giggle, you'd actually be like have good grades. I'm just like, what are you gonna do? This is more fun.
Yeah, have you ever met a stupid stand-up comedian?
No, I'm very rarely.
Yeah.
I mean,
seriously though, think about it. Like not,
a lot of the best comics,
not to blow our own horns here, but like pretty smart people.
To do this and be good at it, you have to be reasonably intelligent.
Yeah.
The problem is the trade-off of that is most of us are fuck-ups. It's like if you tell us to do anything reasonable in life, like financially stable or credit score, buy a house, we're just like not doing that. But if you tell us to do a 5-minute bit on fucking all this shit going on, like on Bitcoin, and be like, I can do that.
Yeah, I got that. And, oh man, it's so true.
But I think most comics have to be smart and a combination of smart and damaged to think that this is a good idea.
Yeah. But it is fun.
It's definitely fun. It's the best.
I think we've exhausted. I mean, you got to get going here in a few minutes.
I got to do radio soon.
Yeah. So I don't know if I don't think we warned you, but there's a segment on the podcast that we do called "Curse to Darkness."
What is it? I'm in. What is it? I'm in.
I don't know what it is, but I'm going to do it.
He wants a drink, is what he wants.
So there's a Chinese proverb that goes, "I'd rather light a candle than curse the darkness," and so it means like, I should light a candle instead of complaining about things around me and not doing things about it. So in opposition of that, we'd like you to curse the darkness. We'd like you to, talk about something you want to complain about that you don't plan on actually doing anything to fix. So
that's a long fucking list.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm not gonna do anything about, but I'm just done with it. I'm gonna go this whole year without watching the fucking news. I'm done. I don't care what side you're on. It's over. It's like whether it's Rachel Maddow or Tucker Carlson, they're all psycho. I'm done. I have no idea how to fix it. But it's like and also, can we stop crying on the news? It's like all these dumb news anchors are crying over Syria from their penthouses. It's like, go fuck yourself, man. It's like you live in Manhattan, you don't give a fuck about what's going on in Syria. Then they show like the kids being tear gassed and there was some white dude crying. It's like, get the fuck out of here.
Oh, I must not have watched news in recent times because I haven't seen anyone cry. But
dude, I see it. Maybe just the
annoying.
channels. I see it all the time. Just I can't believe it. It's like you're the problem.
You keep showing it.
So I think there's a lot of shit I complain about that I'm also too lazy to fix. Like I think that's most comedians. It's like you make a joke about something and they're like, "Are you going to do anything about it?" No. Why would I do anything about it? That would take.
I got a bit now.
Yeah, that would take work.
Yeah. Real work. Like painting a door.
I just want to make drunks laugh. That's all I want to do.
Well, you're very good at making drunks laugh.
Oh, you guys are the best. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
man. This
absolutely.
was a lot of
Thanks
fun.
for being on.
Thank you very much, Brian
and,
Plumb.
We can't wait to see you later today.
All right.
You too.
Thank you, Brian Plumb, everyone.
That was Brian Plumb, Westfield State alum, diligent employee, funny fucking guy regardless.
So good. He's a fan favorite in our circle here in Maine. I'm so glad he's willing to travel for our stand-up shows. Brian has a lot going for him as a stand-up comedian, and it was a pleasure to talk with him.
Yes, thanks to everyone who listened. Tell your friends and follow Comedy Think Tanked wherever you can. Be sure to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Find us on Instagram at Comedy Think Tanked, Twitter at Comedy Tanked, and our website, comedythinktanked.com. Email us at comedythinktanked@gmail.com. Have a good day.
Theme music was written and produced by a minor, Ralph Birgfeld. No comedians were hurt in the production of this podcast. All audio snippets of actual funny punchlines were not written or performed by any of us or our subsidiaries. Rather, they are express written bits of professionals we admire. Let the civil actions be filed. Any opinion heard, actual or implied, is that of the Comedy Think Tank producers and their guests. Any slight, insult, affront, slur, disparaging remark, snub, rebuff, rejection, or spurning, no matter how derogatory, pejorative, or abusive you may feel it is, was not intended, but for comedic, entertaining purposes only. Thanks for listening.
That was Brian Plumb, Westfield State alum, diligent employee, fucking funny guy regardless.
So good. He's a fan favorite in our circle here in Maine. I'm so glad that you didn't read the question mark on line 1. I spend seconds writing these outros. Slave in the...
I could tell, as you started talking, I was like, oh, Nick has a weird energy to him right now.
He's really pissed. There's no pride of authorship in podcasting, but yet there is.
All right, sorry.
Okay.
Westfield State alum? It's like
Alum?
Alum?
You gotta,
That's how you want me to say it?